Right now at noon, the president and other world leaders are attending the G20 summit, and trade was a major topic brought up during this morning's meeting. And the president is calling for an end to the Mueller investigation after his personal attorney pleads guilty in the case. And area police department is doing something good, how staff and officers are helping people in our community this holiday season.
This is News 3 at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 on this Friday afternoon. We'll get to those stories in a bit. But first, let's head over to the Weather Center. Meteorologist Chris Reese has a look at your first alert forecast, and it could be an interesting weekend.
That's right. It could be an interesting weekend. You're getting a little bit of warm air involved with precipitation falling onto a frozen ground. So that's something we're going to have to watch very closely. Temperatures are warmer out there right now. We're at 32 degrees, so we have made it to the freezing mark as of noon today. So not another day stuck in the 20s like what we've seen, though it is rather dreary outside. We've had the low fog, a little bit of mist, the low clouds, but temperatures are certainly warming up. We have those winds out of the east and northeast at 3 miles per hour right now. Here's the weather, though. We're tracking the heavier cloud cover rolling in from the south and west. So if we take our camera and look over the south and west, we actually see our next system coming together, and it doesn't look all that impressive. We see multiple pieces, a little piece over here over parts of Wyoming, a little piece through Kansas, and a little bit of light precipitation falling through northern Nebraska. But that is the makings of the next storm system coming into the picture already. Winter storm warnings throughout parts of South Dakota and Nebraska. Winter storm watches through Iowa and southern Minnesota. And we do have alert days as well. We're not expecting any major kind of impacts from this storm, but you get a frozen ground and some light rain to fall on that, and that does cause some issues when it comes to travel. We could also see some light accumulating snow as we head into Sunday. So as one of the quotes from my favorite movies always says, grab your brooms because it's a mess. That's going to be the forecast going into the weekend, Mark. And of course, we will make sure that we keep everyone up to date on what they can expect.
All right, we'll check back in a few minutes. Thank you, Chris. President Trump is holding high-stakes meetings with world leaders at the G20 summit in Argentina. This morning, the president signed a new trade deal with the leaders of Mexico and Canada to replace NAFTA. Mo Olengi has the latest from the White House.
President Trump signed a new trade agreement he pushed for with Canada and Mexico at the G20 summit Friday morning.
This is an agreement that, first and foremost, benefits working people, something of great importance to all three of us here today.
The new agreement replaces NAFTA. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says more work needs to be done to remove economic obstacles.
Make no mistake, we will stand up for our workers and fight for their families and their communities. And Donald, it's all the more reason why we need to keep working to remove the tariffs on steel and aluminum between our countries.
Mexico honored President Trump's son-in-law and White House advisor Jared Kushner with the Order of the Aztec Eagle for his work on renegotiating the trade agreement. Trade will also be the major topic when President Trump meets with Chinese President Xi Jinping Saturday.
A lot is at stake at the meetings with China. The talks come amid an escalating trade war between the two nations, with the U.S. set to impose additional tariffs on Chinese goods next month.
I feel quite confident that this meeting won't go badly, but it's not clear the Chinese are going to get what they want.
Russian President Vladimir Putin arrived for the summit Friday, hours after President Trump abruptly canceled their scheduled meeting, citing Russia's military aggression against Ukraine. The Russian president was all smiles, greeting the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. He's under a cloud following the murder of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. The Crown Prince has denied involvement. Mo Olengi, CBS News, the White House.
And the new USMCA trade agreement signed this morning still needs to be ratified by lawmakers in all three countries. And the president is also going after Special Counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation, once again calling it a witch hunt. This comes after his personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, pleaded guilty to lying to Congress about a real estate deal in Moscow that he was working on for Mr. Trump. Cohen spent more than 70 hours talking with investigators as part of his plea deal, and the FBI secured a large amount of data when it raided his New York home and office this past spring. Well, things are starting to turn faster on a lame duck legislative session in Madison. Leadership committees in both the Assembly and the Senate are expected to vote by paper today to authorize the session. The votes are a formality since Republicans control both committees. Republicans hope to convene on the floor in both chambers next week to take up last-minute bills before Governor Scott Walker leaves office. It is still not clear what exactly they plan to do. They're considering passing measures guaranteeing health care coverage for people with pre-existing conditions and weakening Governor-elect Tony Evers' powers. University of Wisconsin chapter of Theta Chi fraternity is ending its time as a registered student organization. The group cited lack of due process regarding misconduct allegations, which included underage drinking and disregarding police warnings when a tailgate party became too large. Fraternity officials said none of the allegations brought against the chapter have resulted in any criminal charges. Well, a friendly competition among Fitchburg's police department is helping people in need in our community. Today, officers dropped off the supplies they gathered during their annual collection drive. Volunteers at the Allied Drive Food Pantry say this year's haul was really big and will really make an impact on the families they serve.
It is amazing. This is going to last us for a long time.
We filled up the room back there a little bit too, didn't they?
We filled up the room. Yeah, it's almost, up to the windows. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, it's a lot of food and necessities like, toilet paper and paper towels and, other bathroom, shampoos and conditioners and.
Volunteers say donations allow them to save their personal funds and that the items donated today will help them last for months. And there's a whole bunch of places to get unique handmade Christmas gifts this weekend. Tomorrow is the Fair Trade Holiday Festival at Monona Terrace. It features 50 vendors from 40 different countries. The Goodman Community Center is hosting its Crafty Fair in the Brassworks building with unique Wisconsin-made gifts. And the Holiday Fest Arts and Crafts Fair will have handmade jewelry, baskets, pottery, and much more over at the Warner Park Recreation Center. We have details about these and all the other holiday fairs in the area up on our website, channel3000.com. And there's more to come on News 3 at noon. Up next, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Our annual Christmas cookie countdown begins today with a very magical recipe. Wait until you see what's in it. Do you know what today is? It's the day we kick off our annual online Christmas cookie countdown. So if you love cookies, then all this month you're gonna wanna go online as we reveal a new cookie every day. Today, we're starting with a bar cookie that is holiday festive and as easy as can be. So what do you say we roll up our sleeves and get baking? We start by placing a stick of butter in a 9x13 baking dish and popping it in the oven just long enough for the butter to melt. Once it does, we sprinkle on some graham cracker crumbs, then a layer of chocolate chips. And those can be the mint chocolate chips if you want, like I'm using here, followed by a good amount of chopped walnuts and shredded coconut. Now, we pour a can of sweetened condensed milk over it, which holds it all together. And since it's Christmas, we top it off with a few red and green mini chocolate-coated candies to make it even more magical before baking it. After it cools, cut it into squares and they're ready to serve with a big glass of milk or to bring to a cookie exchange. As always, the recipe for our Christmas Magic Squares is online now, so you can kick off your holiday baking with a foolproof bar cookie that's always the first to disappear. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen with our little cookie monster, Kelly, where today we found a magical way for you to say, ooh, it's so good. Good?
Delicious.
They look good. There's more to come on News 3 at noon. It looks like we're going to see a pretty wet weekend. Chris Reese talks about what we can expect when during our first alert forecast. Our Call for Action phone bank is open right now, ready to take on your consumer issue. You can call our hotline. Volunteers will help you with any consumer complaints. The number 270-2833. The service open every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 11 and 1. Well, another big data breach that could reveal your personal information and where you can get discounted gift cards this weekend. Here's Wendy Gillette with today's Money Watch report.
Marriott has announced a major data breach. The company says the Starwood reservation database was the target, which stores information on more than 500 million guests who made reservations at Starwood properties. For millions of guests, the data stolen could include their name, address, passport number, date of birth, even their payment information. While marijuana businesses are blooming in some states, most banks and credit card processors won't service cannabis companies. That's because of the federal prohibition on marijuana. But now Credit Union One says it's launching a pilot program next year to work with marijuana businesses in Alaska. It will give pot companies doing all their business in cash some banking options. The holiday deals continue. Target is selling gift cards at a discount this Sunday. The retail giant is offering 10% off on gift cards worth up to $300. The once-a-year deal is available in stores and online and is good for one transaction per customer. If your office party is coming up in the next few weeks, don't be that employee everyone is talking about the next day. New research from one poll and eBite shows 1 in 3 attendees will do something they immediately regret. 40% will witness some kind of office drama. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Wendy Gillette.
Wendy, thank you. The Dow Industrial is down 32 points at the noon hour. The NASDAQ, however, up about 5.5. Let's check in now with Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee on this Friday with your Packers shirt on, ready to go.
Yeah, that's the drama I want this weekend. I want to remind myself what it feels like to win. I hope the boys can help me out. The weather's going to be real tricky for folks that are heading up to the game, too, so I'll be interested to hear more details from Chris. The details are still being worked on out in Washington, D.C., but everybody remains optimistic that they're going to get a farm bill done. Right now, the Congressional Budget Office is taking a look at some of the fine points as far as cost, and then they need to gather a few signatures before they get it scheduled for a vote. Remember, they're going to be out on their holiday mid-December, so time is of the essence. U.S.-Mexico-Canadian deal got signed today already. President Zippy Duval from the American Farm Bureau Federation says they're hoping that it's going to reap benefits for U.S. agriculture like the NAFTA agreement did. We had exports to Canada and Mexico jump from about $8.9 million to more than $30 billion when NAFTA finally had been fully in place. He said he's hoping that it's going to help poultry, eggs, dairy, and wine in this next round. Markets are firm on the midday down in Chicago. It's not so much about the G20 summit or even the U.S.-Mexican-Canadian deal. It's mostly about the fact that today is November 30th. We've got some positions that we need to square up, and that's what traders are doing. Our livestock market continues to remain very, very low, especially on those cows and Holstein bull calves. Can't get any improvement moving there. Our dairy market's okay. So we got our October milk price. It looks like Wisconsin dairy farmers were paid on average $17.60 a hundredweight for the milk they produced in October. 20 cents more than their September milk price, 90 cents less than last October's milk price. Works out to be about $1.51 per gallon at the farm gate. Basically, all states saw at least a moderate increase. The biggest milk price increases in New York as well as Pennsylvania. They saw $1 a hundredweight increase in just 1 month's time. Does that mean we're back on course as far as milk prices? Mike North with Commodity Risk Management Group says no, he does not believe it. He still believes the bottom is yet to come when it comes to our dairy prices, so not exactly good news. Today in Chicago, barrel cheese gained a half a cent at 131.5. 40-pound block cheese unchanged at 136. The AA butter 2 cents stronger today at 224.25 per pound. The Wisconsin Farm Bureau Federation kicks off their centennial celebration today up at the Kalahari Resort in Wisconsin Dells. They've got all kinds of conferences through the weekend, and we'll wrap it up on Monday with their policy meeting. And one of my buddies shot me a text and said, figures, the weather always is kind of skunk whenever the Farm Bureau convention shows up. So there we go.
Mark your calendar. Plan for next year.
I know. I don't need Chris. I'll just look at the calendar.
Get the calendar.
That way.
All right. Go Pack.
Yeah, go Pack. Come on, boys.
We need a win. All right. Thank you, Pam. We'll see you next week. And Chris is here now, and could be a little something for everybody.
That's right. You know what? I think I'm going to use that as my new forecasting skill. Whatever weekend that is, weather's going to be bad.
Yep, plan ahead.
But yeah, we are tracking some nasty weather into the weekend, though things are a little bit better today than what we've seen as of late. We do have a lot of cloud cover out there. We've seen that cloud cover all day. Here it is. We've seen some low clouds and some drizzle at times as well. The good news is temperatures are going to be at least a little bit better. Right now we're at 32 degrees, which is right around freezing instead of being below freezing. And I do think we will see those temperatures head above freezing as we go throughout the day. More of us are still in the 30s. We go down to Janesville, they're at 34 right now, but it is the low 30s across the entire state. And temperatures are just a tad bit warmer than we were at this time yesterday. Now, it's not noticeably different, but we are seeing those temperatures on the uptick. Our forecast high, 38 degrees. Typically, we are around 36. So if we can make it to 38, I think the clouds are going to pose a problem in doing so. But if we can make it to 38, we would have a day of above average temperatures, another day into the very few days of above average temperatures that we have had so far this month. For the most part, we've had the entire month of days below normal, other than about 5 days or so in there. But let's go ahead and show you guys how things are going to play out going through the afternoon and evening. If we can get some breaks in the clouds, that's our best shot at hitting 38 degrees. But for the most part, we'll be mostly cloudy and temperatures are going to be staying in the low 30s for those highs. We'll drop tonight, but notice how things gradually begin to slow down in the rate of temperatures falling. But then comes the rain as we head into Saturday morning. Here's something to be mindful of as that rain works its way on into town. Temperatures are above freezing. The ground is not, so there could be some icing along with 35, 45 mile an hour winds. That's going to be something to pay very close attention to. Then as we head farther into your Saturday, temperatures warm up and everything should transition on over into rain. Now this system, very much like the one last weekend, is actually taking a southerly track that is good for snowfall around here. The problem is this storm does not have the ability to tap into that colder air from Canada and bring in that cold air. Instead, it's got to manufacture its own cold air with these winds coming out of the south into southeast. And it's going to do that as the air rises with height. It will cool off and transition the backside of that over onto some snow. So here's how that low will work out as it works its way towards the north and east. We should see some back end snow on the backside of that. Of course, that's something we are going to pay close attention to. Temperatures will be coming way down, though, stuck in the 20s as we go through next week. And we are talking the entire country, folks, that will be below average. At least they have a very likely probability of doing so. So this afternoon, 38 degrees. If we can get there, I unfortunately am not confident we will do it. 30 degrees tonight, though, so not as cold of a night around here. And then we'll have that mix of rain and snow. An alert day for Saturday and Sunday with the potential of icing and some light snow. And then we're staying in the 20s after that.
Oof, cold.
It is
December.
cold. Welcome to December.
Absolutely.
Meteorological winter starting tomorrow.
All right, Chris, thank you. We'll be right back. NBA superstar Steph Curry is fixing a problem with his shoe brand pointed out by a 9-year-old girl. Michelle Miller reports.
Girls play basketball too, and it's not any more important for boys than girls.
Riley Morrison got an unexpected reply Thursday morning to a letter she wrote.
I was really surprised and excited.
Riley, who is starting a new basketball season, had asked her dad to buy her Steph Curry's Curry 5 basketball shoes. But when he went to the website, Chris Morrison was surprised to see they were only available under the boys section.
I was thinking, this isn't fair.
Riley took action, writing to Curry.
I know you support girl athletes because you have 2 daughters and you host an all-girls basketball camp. I hope you can work with Under Armour to change this because girls want to rock the Curry 5s too.
After Riley's dad posted the letter on Instagram, Curry did just that, tweeting, "Appreciate you helping us get better, Riley. We got you," along with a handwritten response. Unfortunately, we have labeled smaller sizes as boys on the website. We are correcting this now. I want to make sure you can wear my kicks proudly.
The fact that he took the time out of his day to write to my daughter means a lot to me.
Not only was the change made on the Under Armour website, but Curry said he would send Riley a pair of the shoes, and she would be one of the first kids to get the Curry 6s.
I'm just super happy that they've made the change and now it's on there, and I'm really proud of her for making a difference.
Riley is satisfied that all girls can now find the shoes in their section.
Boys aren't the only ones that want them. Everybody wants them.
Michelle Miller, CBS News, New York.
Good for her. Curry also invited Riley to come to Oakland for a special event that's in the works for the International Women's Day, March 8th. Riley says she can't wait.
That was all over Twitter.
Yeah, she's a
little
inspired
jealous
little girl,
there,
yeah.
getting to meet Steph Curry. Well, we're going to keep watching the forecast. If there's anyone to be jealous of, that's Florida. They're in the 50s, and they're complaining that it's cold. But we do have alert days going into Saturday and Sunday. That's for the possibility of freezing rain at the onset of rain coming into our picture. That will likely end as a little bit of light snow. I do think accumulations, though, will be around an inch or so.
All right, if you're traveling, keep an eye on things. We'll see you back here at 4. Have a great afternoon.